And welcome back to another episode of the Caffeinated Librarians. For this, we're continuing with our foreign movie franchise series. This time, it's my pick. Sorry, I'm messing this up.
Great.
We're doing my pick, which means we're going all the way to Japan, the land of monster mashups, and there is no such mashup as amazing as Sadako versus Kayako, The Ring versus The Grudge. We've had monster mashups in the U.S. like Freddy versus Jason, Predator versus Alien, Japan,
Godzilla versus Kong.
In
both countries, but now we've got dueling urban legends, ghosts, two powerful curses face off in an amazingly funny movie.
For about 10 minutes
Objection.
at the end of the movie.
It's always like that.
Objection. No. They called this movie Versus.
Yeah, there was
they
definitely
didn't
didn't
even really fight.
definitely not enough. Definitely not
They
enough bad.
fought.
Godzilla versus Kong, they fought for 15 minutes across the whole movie in the last one. Freddy versus Jason, they fought for like 18 minutes across the whole movie. This one, she dragged her down the hallway 30 seconds and they got nose hair.
Yeah, and then they exploded into each other. That was it.
An oil slick.
Yeah.
So most of these films, these monster mashups that we've seen, nobody really, except for Godzilla mashup movies,
Okay.
none of them actually tend to win
As
in this.
a big fan of classic Godzilla, I will say this tracks. Usually Godzilla doesn't show up until about the 45-minute mark.
And the monster's already done damage.
Yeah, and then he shows up and he stomps around for a bit, and then eventually they have like a 5 to 10 minute fight.
Except in this case, Godzilla, with that argument, Godzilla would be the grudge girl.
No.
Shows up.
Yeah.
Now,
Shows
okay,
up, crawls down the stairs, just gets her ass kicked.
I don't know if you've ever
That's-
watched
excuse me,
like
and then
like
she
an
came back.
old-timey kaiju movie, but
Yeah.
the first halves of those movies, nothing happens. It's just
It's all
people
political
in
banter at that
rooms.
point.
They're
Yeah.
reading
It's
they're
like-
reading charts and meters.
Yeah.
Rumblings on
Yeah.
the
The
earth.
government's like, don't do anything yet, and they're like, but sir, the seismic readings are off the charts.
Where'd
And it's
that
like, it's
massive
coming.
earthquake come from?
There's a lot of nuclear energy coming out of nowhere. What do we do?
Could it be from the 1,000-foot tall monster over
So-
there? Maybe.
Dun, 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 coming out of
So
the-
I will say, Sadako versus Kayako delivers on that level.
Well, it's kind of like Alien versus Predator also. Like, they fight, but then in the end, nobody really wins. They just end up kind of combining.
Because you need
the
Alien
two.
versus Predator too.
And that's why I want the
Alien
Ring
versus
Grudge
Predator.
2.
Predator won. The Predator won at the end of Alien versus
I think
Predator.
Alien won. That's my opinion.
He killed the alien.
Yeah, but then he mixed with it because it bred into him.
I
It's put a baby in him, and the face hugger got to
True.
it, and it put the baby in him, and then it combined their genetics, and then
true.
it became like something that came out of Requiem, which was like,
Kill them with kindness kind of thing, right?
But you know what's the funny? That's what
so
happened.
much kindness. They enslaved the alien race in that one, and
I've never
forced
seen
them
that.
to breed, and
That's
then forced
great.
them to as a hunting fodder.
Kill them with breeding.
And so they kidnapped the queen, which is very upsetting, and the queen had every right to be upset. But I was rooting for her. She's a big girl. She's a big, strong mama.
But can I say though, like
Strong,
with
independent
the
woman, no
whole
man.
making the two grudges come together, what you essentially did was made a super grudge.
Yes.
They made a very
Massive
powerful
grudge.
spirit that now can track
It
anywhere.
looked like
so.
the demon from Dogma.
Look here. To be fair,
I
that's
like
true.
it.
And all it did was fall down a well.
Japan
Yeah.
has this thing when it comes to making
Demons.
spirits, and if you look at old text and stuff like that of the yokai, a lot of them are not pretty. There is a yokai that literally has an eyeball in its butt, and it's the thing that it does is it literally just walks up to you and goes, "Look at the eye in my butt," and then it runs away, and people are like, "What is that?" And he's like, "Ha ha!"
It's like a toddler.
I hate when that happens.
So
So that's its
they
sole
say-
purpose.
Such is life.
That's its sole purpose, is to walk up to people and be like, "Look at my butt," and they're
So
like,
did-
"Oh my god, there's an eyeball," and he's like, "Ah!"
So did Yuri just become the double demon?
No,
No, Yuri died.
you're dead.
Yuri dead.
You're dead. So it created, to kind of go back in time a little bit and talk about the origins of Kayako and Sadako, or the Ring and the Grudge. For those who are unaware, you can have a base knowledge of the Ring, and that's totally fine, even if you've just seen the U.S. movie. It makes a lot of sense because the two don't differ like excessively.
The
Yeah.
U.S. movie of The Grudge was pretty closely.
It was
It's
the
very good, actually.
original director.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, so both translated very well into U.S. audiences.
It did kick off a wave of J-horror remakes that didn't always translate well, but
But that was a good year when I remember those came out. Like Skeleton Key came out, and I thought that was great.
I liked that at the time.
Yeah.
I don't know that I would like it now, but I remember being into
I go
it.
back to it occasionally, and I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, this is nice. This is
Oh, I realized we didn't introduce our guest.
That's right.
wow.
That's so
We
into
did
it
the first
already.
episode, and we didn't introduce. That's
So,
Amanda's fault.
That's my fault.
She got really into the
We
phone
have
thing.
2 new members of the library, one of which has joined us for this episode of the podcast and will be a regular guest now on our podcast. And
Regular
this is-
contributor
host.
introduce
or
yourself.
host. That's a good
Oh,
word.
I'm Annalise. And what do you want me to say?
What's
You
your biggest
did it.
fear? What's your favorite scary movie?
I want to talk to Sadako.
Do you like peanut butter and jelly? And what kind of jelly? Go.
Okay, so my biggest fear would be drowning.
Oh,
Because
the
I
grudge
can't-
ghosts are
Yeah.
gonna get you.
Oh, I hate that little boy so much. I hate him. My favorite horror movie. I don't know. I don't watch that many.
Actually, I don't think I know any of your favorite horror movies. This is new. We should just start and go left.
I don't, because I wouldn't classify a lot of them as horror. They would just be thrillers.
You could say, what's your favorite thriller then?
My favorite thriller would be Silence of the Lambs. It's one of my favorite movies in
Quality.
I
general.
like that. Yeah, that's a good one.
And then I like peanut butter and jelly. And my favorite jelly is Marion Blackberry.
Interesting. Okay.
That sounds fancy.
Yeah.
Marion
you,
berries are from Oregon.
Crunchy peanut butter or smooth peanut butter?
Smooth peanut butter. It's a no. No.
I'm with you there.
Lou, you're next for favorite horror movie because I need time.
I
Favorite
don't have
horror
an answer
movie
either, so I just-
is
Oh, wait.
what does Randy say in Scream 2? Does he say Showgirls? I forget what he says, but I think it was something like that.
Oh, and he was right before he got murdered?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Favorite scary movie is man, I don't know. I wasn't expecting to be asked that. I also wasn't expecting to ask it. I do like peanut butter and jelly. I'm a smooth peanut butter person, and I like strawberry jam.
Strawberries good.
I don't think I have one specific favorite horror movie. I really love the Saw franchise. I do enjoy Hostel.
The Saw
The
tracks.
second one wasn't my favorite, but my favorite scene in Hostel is when like one of the people escapes, and the woman's going around being like, "Oh, we have a discount price on somebody right now. The person who was killing them is no longer killing them. They've already kind of been like sliced up a little bit," and it's like this guy just comes out and he's like, "No thanks, I'm fine." And she's like, "Okay," and he just goes back in and he's a cannibal, and so he's just got like nice music in the background. He's got a nice little plate. And he's just like, "Ooh." And I was like, "This is great." And I was like, "He's just a gentleman killer." I was like, "Good for him." I do like a lot of Japanese horror. I think it's a lot of fun. I go through my genres, so I don't really have one that I.
Well, what is
Have to
one
watch.
like? Maybe just do an honorable mention.
Yeah, like if I were like Amanda, recommend me a horror movie. to
Today's
watch.
pick, Sadako versus Kayako.
That-
Honestly, I watched this like the beginning of this year because there was nothing else to do, and I had been like putting it off. And I was like, I finally had like a Shudder subscription, and I was like, all right, we're gonna kill this. And I have wanted to talk about it for a long time now, because I was like, I just want everyone to watch this movie.
See, we were
I
all
think
about
it's
granting
so-
wishes on this podcast.
That's what we
I
do,
like
so-
horror movies that are either really good. I like movies that are bad.
Clearly.
Shout out to the Bad Ben franchise.
Love Bad Ben.
He's still going.
I
I'm
know.
mad at the
Love
creator
you,
though.
Nigel Bach.
Who's Bad Ben?
So okay,
No, we're gonna do a movie marathon. I will bring it in.
This came out the same year as Paranormal Activity, and it was Paranormal Activity's scrappier cousin. But the catch is, it's made by one guy who is a middle-aged man from New Jersey who's just kind of grumpy, and it's about him buying
flip
a
a house.
haunted house and trying to flip it. and it's genuinely pretty good. But he's
It's
just
on
like
YouTube
he's
for
just
free.
so
First
like
one.
exasperated with the ghost. He's like, oh come on, man, like just very.
My favorite scene of all time in any of these movies, I bought the whole like 12 movie, but now he came up with a 13th. I'm mad at you, Nigel. You lied to me. You said it was the complete collection. It's not the complete collection. You came out with another one. I had to buy the DVD.
There are 13 of these?
Yes, he makes one a year.
The Dracula, I think it's the Dracula something that just came out as his 13th film. But yeah, my favorite scene in the first one is he's sleeping in bed, and you just see, because it's like it's one guy making this movie, and you see this like little like wavy for the ghost, and he comes and starts beating him up in the bed, and he's like, oh no, so you see him on the ground like trying to, oh no, stop it, and you just hear psh, 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 sounds, and it kills me. In the end, when you finally see like Bad Ben or something like that, Ben's bad. There's a picture that literally is like Bad Ben, and you just hear this.
I love
noise
those
in the
movies.
background, and I'm just like, what is that?
They're
It's a
all
dinosaur.
streaming on Tubi. Check them out.
I am going to.
They're
The first
That
one is
sounds-
on YouTube for free. We should also just sit down, and I have the 12 movie collection. We should just watch it.
Marathon.
You have a miniseries called The Witch Bitch.
Amanda, I was really contemplating buying the Blu-ray collection.
Oh,
the
I
other
had
day.
no doubt in my mind. I was like, I need this for my collection.
Wow.
I was like, as soon as he advertised all 12 movies at the time, I was like,
Take my money.
this is like the easiest purchase
So-
I've ever made.
I'm so excited he did a Dracula one.
I don't know if it has anything to do with Dracula, but maybe. Anyways, that's my honorable mention. Peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. I do like smooth peanut butter. I'm a classic person. I'm a grape jam and a peanut butter jelly. It's a midnight snack.
Can't go
kind of
wrong.
affair.
I like it.
So
I like it.
I don't know any of the other movies, the other questions you asked, but
Ben.
I don't remember what I asked.
That was it.
Yeah,
Movie
those were it.
peanut
right?
butter
my biggest
sandwich.
fear.
Oh, your biggest,
Biggest fear. That's what it was.
That's a-
Wait, Lou,
that's a
but you
big
didn't
one.
tell us your biggest fear.
My biggest fear. Sadako.
No.
I'm gonna hit her up.
Hey girl, how you doing? She's like, leave me alone. I'm trying to curse people right now. My biggest fear, I can't really think of one necessarily.
So we'll come back to you.
I would probably just say getting caught.
What?
What?
That's right, getting caught.
Guilty conscience.
That's a Dennis Reynolds response.
It's the implication. Yeah, it's the implication.
Kill someone.
We're out in the middle of the sea and there's nobody here. You know? I don't really have a big fear, so.
Ben.
Oh, needles. That's what it is, needles. No, I will cry at a needle. That's it. I not on screen, but if one comes near me, like a
You went from I don't have any fears to something
Something
so mundane as
I have,
needles.
I have the same fear as a 6-year-old.
It's a fear. Okay.
Oh no,
Ben.
I don't like needles either. I relate.
Okay, Ben. Ben, what is it?
All right. Scariest movie I've ever seen is probably Hereditary. Most disturbing one I've ever seen is called Speak No Evil. Favorite is probably 28 Days Later.
Nice.
I'm a person who has taste, so I don't like peanut butter and jelly at all. And
That's blasphemous.
Wow.
I take all offense.
He's just throwing shade. Oh my god.
and fear, Jesus, losing my lines on stage.
Yeah, that would be bad. I would imagine.
I'm not really a horror person. I don't have a favorite horror film. But horror films that I do enjoy. I love Nightmare on Elm Street, the first one. That's one film I can consistently go and watch. Another good one, because it's like intelligent horror and the jump scare is actually an intelligent jump scare. Yeah, I'm going to sound pretentious. It's a really good...
So it's not Sadako versus Kayako.
Did you hear that?
Spoiler alert for this episode.
It could be. It's The Others.
Oh, that's a
Yeah,
good one.
It's real good.
Fears, my biggest fear is drowning. That's a really big fear. I don't really like water and
So when
drowning.
I go sailing around the world, you guys do not want to come.
No.
I'll come back swim.
Well,
As long
no.
as you provide a life jacket, I'll go.
Oh, okay. All right.
If I can travel.
So you're not scared of
worth-
being in the water as long as there's proper precautions.
Yes, I can't swim. So.
I'm not a good swimmer, but I will swim.
Yeah. Peanut butter and jelly. I don't like grape jelly. Never have. I can't
Interesting.
eat it. I love peanut butter. Crunchy or smooth, it really does not matter to me. I just love peanut butter. I'm the only one in my family that loves peanut butter, but that's fine. In terms of jellies, I love strawberry and also orange. And there's this one, Lou.
It's a lot of fun to play with.
There's this one brand where they have the orange peels in the jelly. It has this bitter kind of taste to it, but it's delicious. That's my favorite.
No, that's my grandmother's favorite.
Yeah,
marmalade.
so like a nice toasted bread, slather it with peanut butter. I also love peanut butter and Nutella. That's like the best combination ever.
Yeah.
I feel like
I
that's
would need like a big
irony.
glass of milk with that.
yes,
Because, like,
and I love, and I know this.
milk is my favorite.
This probably
It's my
sounds
bedtime
gross,
snack.
but I actually like dipping my bread with the peanut butter and the chocolate in the milk.
Oh,
That
that's
doesn't
people
sound
do
gross.
that. This is a tangent, but have you ever seen the Got Milk commercial where the answer is Aaron Burr, but he eats the peanut butter sandwich and he's out of milk, so he can't answer the question?
No.
Oh,
Yes.
no, I don't think so.
Yeah, thank you, Joe. Doesn't.
Somehow I think I saw it in relation to Hamilton. I can't explain.
I watched it in AP US History. That's where I saw the commercial.
I told my teacher he was going to play a Hamilton song, and I said spoilers. I hadn't seen it yet. And he was like, Amanda, those aren't spoilers. And I went, they're spoilers because I haven't seen it. And I was like, every time he played the song, I was like, spoilers! And he was just like, it's history, Amanda. I'm like,
Well, we had a girl in my AP US History class who got really mad that my teacher told her how Lincoln ended. She's like, that's a huge spoiler. It's like,
Is it though?
is it?
You know what happened to Abe?
Wait, that was a spoiler for her?
Yes. Yes, she got really angry that he let it slip that Lincoln gets shot.
But how did? Okay, never mind. I have my moments too where I don't know. So I was like, I won't judge. Never mind. Forget about
It
it.
would have been cool if they went Inglourious Basterds.
Yeah, right? I was just thinking that.
Lincoln turns around last second.
He's got a machete.
Favorite horror movie? I'm going with House. It's a 70s Japanese horror movie. It's crazy, very psychedelic, wild stuff. I adore it. Peanut butter and jelly. All right, Dark Horse, blueberry preserves. With that smooth peanut butter, it's so good.
Do you like the actual like little pieces of blueberry in your blueberry jelly?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can feel that.
I'm down with
sometimes
that.
having fruit and something is like kind of like a pleasant.
Not if they're big
surprise.
though. Like the brand I like, they're very tiny. Because if they're really big, like I don't like.
I
the
get freaked
chewy-
out by the texture.
I
Yeah.
get this fruit tea from this place near us that
Yeah.
I normally don't drink tea because I'm like, ugh, it just tastes watered down and gross, and the aftertaste is just disgusting to me.
What kind of tea are you drinking?
Not the right
This place that did like a peach tea, and they added chunks of, they called it fresh pulp, but it's like chunks of like peaches, and so you suck it with a boba straw, and it
Nope.
was like, this is really like a pleasant
Absolutely
little
not.
thing going on. They made it green tea recently.
In the hot tea?
No, it's like a cold tea,
Oh,
like
it's
one of those
cold.
boba
Okay.
tea places, but even like boba tea I normally won't like drink unless it's like fruity related.
I can't do the
boba.
texture. I
love
can't. I
boba.
can't.
It was nice. It was like having like little pieces, and then you just crunch, and you're like, oh, this is kind of just nice, refreshing. Textures. Anyways, welcome,
Joe didn't tell us
Annalisa.
his biggest
Oh,
fear.
what's your biggest fear?
We gotta hide the cocaine stash from Amanda before the podcast.
right.
When it's Amanda's turn.
Biggest fear, probably, what if a little boy meowed at you?
I would be, if he did that tongue thing to me, I think I'd start laughing at him. I'd be like, you're not scary.
You gonna pull out a chapstick and be like,
Yeah, I'm like,
some Vaseline.
I'm like, you're a weird kid.
That's what I like about Toshio. He just stands as a weird little guy.
Like,
He's not particularly scary. He's
not.
I
No.
find him terrifying.
I'm like, he needs to get some sunlight.
Maybe it's because I'm scary. Then again, I'm a wuss when it comes to horror. I find a lot of stuff scary that people are like, no, it's not scary.
Well, I
There
don't
was,
find
like-
Kayako scary. I just find him scary.
The Grudge 2,
She
he like
wasn't
shows up in a classroom, Toshio, and
So-
like under the desk, and he's like,
The Grudge 2, Toshio goes to school. I like
Monster. I think in the original one, I saw the original Japanese Grudge, and I think in that one he doesn't even kill people. He just hangs around.
Yeah, I thought this one they said, Amanda, that they changed the mythology around
They
the
did
characters.
to make it kind of its own little universe in this one versus
Yeah.
it's like it is a crossover film, but they did change a lot from the original Legends. They really didn't go into the history of the characters and like videotape, like why.
Yeah, they're just going with, look,
They
if you're
did
watching
take
this,
from
you
the
know.
books a little bit in regards to like the phone.
Their books.
The Ring is based on a book series.
Yes.
It's got like 3 or 4 books. I know at one point we had the manga renditions here. There's a prequel called Birthday, and then there's, I believe, Spiral is another one. So Sadako is the spirit that we see from the videotape in The Ring. I highly recommend seeing both the Japanese and the American one. They're both very good.
I have a question.
Yes.
Why in this movie do they show us the well, but they have Sadako coming out of a doorway in the video?
So as I said, the videotape, they kind of put it in their own little universe. It's like a pocket universe. I would say this is a separate alternate kind of feel. The well that they use is not Sadako's well because it's not outside of the Seiki house.
Okay.
The Seiki house is the name of the original house from Ju-on, with the Grudge. In which they're both very tragic stories about why we have vengeful spirits in this one. Sadako's initial origin story is that she was a very awkward girl, and
Yeah, she just walked funny.
she didn't walk funny. She was just kind of weird and awkward and very introverted. And she just didn't talk to anybody, but she had a supernatural power or an alter ego.
And a hair straightener.
So that's where that's where they used the sound instead of her voice, actually. Was her supernatural powers. She was cursing people and she didn't know it. But the curse was the sound of a recording sound. So that's where we get the high-pitched screech in this movie versus just the videotape. It then eventually shifted to a videotape.
My question is, when you see Sadako coming out from the door, is that supposed to be the institution where she was institutionalized?
That could be one thing.
Okay.
They really, versus the American one, which they made this whole videotape with some weird imagery and stuff going on. I think the original one was more of just like a singular, it was the well and her coming out of the well, and it was just kind of a long, prolonged thing. In the original, in the OG movie from Japan, it is almost alike in the US one, but the main difference, I'm trying to think of it right now, is that with the video, there are rumors. So Japan has has a long history of urban legends and doing movies based on urban legends. Simona just watched one recently, which is about the slit-mouthed woman. Which a lot of these things, they're like creepypastas in Japan, and then you have a lot of people who are like, oh no, we've done these things and now it's real.
The professor referred to them as memes.
Yes.
Memes
Yes.
now. Yes, he called them memes now. And so that's what they essentially are. They're just memes.
No,
but they have a long history.
And like the whoever coined that term, you know, like, ideas want to reproduce.
Yeah. So I don't know how she got into the videotape aspect of it, but I think that had to do with her alter ego. Eventually, she was kind of shunned from the theater troupe that she was a part of because that was something she liked. She liked a boy. And unfortunately, the boy was the only person on her side. Oh. And everybody accused her of doing things until they beat her nearly to death. For like they accused her of killing somebody from the troupe that she didn't kill. It was actually her alter ego that did it. But she didn't know she had done it. And
I don't know.
You
know,
there's a lot that goes into like Sadako's backstory. The same thing with The Grudge has a deeper history, in which you have a house of which you have a housewife who was beaten nearly to death. She was murdered by her husband, and her child was also killed. And so the point of The Grudge is that, and they do it really well in the American movie, where if somebody is so hateful and so, filled with a malicious, filled with malice and everything, that a grudge will hold on to anything. So, and the whole point is, if you set foot in the house of the grudge, you're cursed. You can't set foot in the house, or Kayako's not going to come at you. Kayako is the most fearsome spirit of the house. She kills without remorse. She does a little thing.
The death rattle.
Thing. I don't know. I can't do it right now. I used to walk around the house doing it a lot, going like thing.
Toshio just goes, meow.
Yeah.
Toshio was her son.
Can we talk about that for a second?
The cat sounds.
Because there were too many. You said it before when we were having a pre-show meeting. You said that the American version, I don't remember him meowing as much in the American version. I remember the one big one.
Yeah.
Where you get scared, where it's scary. This
Yeah.
time, like every time you see him, he's like, and it's not like scary meows. He's like a little kid that's meowing. He's like meow.
Well, in the first graduating Juwon, he does. You have like a teacher who's like, oh, the kid in my class, they do checkups in Japan. If you have a child who hasn't been, like, a parent hasn't contacted the school in any capacity and the child has been missing, they will do like wellness checks. So they go to the house to say, hey, is your child okay? The teacher will like personally involve themselves.
They have that in America also.
Doesn't seem like it. Doesn't feel like it. So they will go to the person's house. So a teacher ends up going to the house looking for Toshio.
Maybe it would be a teacher, but.
And you hear cat noises from the inside, but you don't know where the cat is. So the cat is always present until the teacher walks into the house, meets the child that's stuck in the house. And when he turns away, you see the mouth open, and then you just hear the meowing, like a very loud meow screeching. And so you always know Toshio's nearby when you hear a cat coming out.
Yeah, that's what
That's what I remember.
Yeah, like I told Lou that the cat
He's a watcher. He's the watcher.
Are they connected? Like, I got the feeling that the cat spirit and so that's just I'm going to go with my interpretation.
From
So
my
you
understanding, the cat and
lied to
Toshio
me.
really don't have anything in common. I know that they had a cat in the house, and I think the cat died. I don't know how. I think it was definitely murdered somewhere along the lines.
Well, because like in the American remake, the father drowns the cat and he drowns the little boy.
Yeah, so it's very
and the
possible.
boy was close to the cat. So what I believed was that the cat and the boy almost became like one entity.
Agreed.
That's true.
I was with that. So if the boy's meowing, then the cat should be talking like a human.
Well, sometimes you see the cat and the cat
That's
doesn't come out.
the
Yeah.
level of buffoonery I was expecting
Why
in this movie.
in this movie, when the professor dies and when the Harry Potter wizard guy dies,
It's a woman.
It is a woman. And she's bitch slapping people.
Oh,
That was
yeah.
That's a
awesome.
priestess. That was a priestess.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
the
woman
she
who's in
slapped
charge of the
her.
shrine.
The guy who
doing
was
the
like-
exorcism on
Oh,
her.
the
The
guy with the
guy
hand.
was like,
So he's-
don't do that. And then she
He's-
just walks over, boom.
why is it that when both those people died, they turned like balloons?
Okay, so Sadako's one of her main powers is that she whenever she comes out of, because she was pushed into a well and she drowned.
Oh,
So she always
Saturates
comes
the
out
lights,
wet. Yeah, she's always. That's why people with their faces are supposed to look like they've drowned, they've been contorted. In this movie, they kind of went overboard on like she headbutted him, and he's like,
Yeah.
But the faces, even in the American rendition, are supposed to look like not good death. Basically, like they're scared, but also
Are they
there's a
supposed to be,
lot.
like,
There's a lot of
bloated
wetness
corpses?
around them.
Bloated corpses?
Bloated corpses.
Okay.
Yes. So her eye even reflects that. They said, "Don't look into Sadako's eye. Don't look into Sadako's eyes."
It's
She's got
kinda
some beautiful
hard, though,
eyes.
when she's like, I like how they say like just don't look at her. Frankly, if someone like that is coming towards me,
Hey, girl.
Staring at him, like, what is that?
I'd probably be like trying to be like, "Hey, girl, how you doing?"
So you see, like a part of me though, like
She's pretty.
I always joke that
Do you
I
need a
would,
towel?
I would not be in a house
Here's a
like that
towel.
for my own volition. I would be in a house because someone I know and care about ran into it,
Peanut
and I'm
butter
like,
jelly.
now I gotta save you.
Speaking of monsters where you're not supposed to look at them, I'm not going to go ahead and say that it's a great movie that I'm about to recommend, but the remake of Blair Witch in 2016
That was so
Oh,
good.
has like it. I can't say I loved it.
It was a sequel,
but the
wasn't it?
last 20 minutes of that movie is some chilling stuff.
That's
And I
how the
think
original
It's really
was.
worth
Okay.
your time just to get to that last 20-minute run. It's really, really
And
good.
in the original one, you never saw the Blair Witch, right?
No.
No.
In
And
this
this
one,
one-
do you see the Blair Witch?
You get some. Yeah, and
It's
actually,
very reminiscent.
I
of
wonder
the
if it
first one.
inspired some of Barbarian,
Okay.
because there's a similarity in the.
I love
I do that to
Barbarian.
Brian sometimes just to like, cause we watched it and that was the one thing that stuck was the bebe. And so like I'll touch his face and be like bebe.
I feel like
It's our love
Barbarian,
language.
Like, the first 45 minutes were much better than the last 45 minutes, but I
Yeah.
still liked it for its creativity.
Yeah, it was like two different movies.
Yeah.
It was great.
I don't know. I thought the Justin Long stuff was hysterical.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
good. But just
He
the,
was very
the
good.
slow motion dive off the water tower and all that, and I was like, we just changed genres here.
So,
But one thing I do like about, and Amanda can like let me know if I'm wrong about this one,
Oh,
with
sure.
or anyone can let me know, like with female ghosts in Japan, because I think a lot of these films they center around female
Yes.
spirits.
Mhm.
The way I've also seen it though is that in a way it's a form of empowerment for these women, because when you considering these two particular ghosts, they both died very tragically, and they were like mistreated horrifically when they were alive. So it's sort of a way of empowering them in that they can basically overcome anyone, whether you're a man or a woman. You will succumb to their curse, and you will be powerless before them.
They
so
do believe
empowerment thing.
Like there are standard tropes of that, like women are more emotional, so the
Yeah.
feelings of hatred are more strong, especially with abuse in family. It's not just the women who feel abuse in their marriages, it's their family life, how they grew up. A lot of them tend to be from like the Edo period. Sadako was not from Edo, and neither was Kayako. But a lot of times these vengeful spirits are based off of mythology. I know Sadako's based loosely off the Okiku myths. Okiku was a woman, and she's often represented coming out of a well with long hair and stuff like that, and she will like, curse you and like murder you.
What's the thing with hair? Like, because a lot of, and it's not just Japanese horror, like Korean horror, hair plays a large part.
Your hair back then was your status. If you had the longer you grew it out, the more healthy you appeared to be. Men would have certain haircuts to represent status. If you had like that haircut where, if you've been watching the one anime called Oku, they show it a lot where they have the top knot.
Yeah.
I know in Korean culture
like
the top
in
knot
Last
was
Samurai.
also exactly.
Yeah.
It is a symbol of status.
Because
Kinda
that's
like
like
in
the
Korean.
helmet. When you wear the helmet,
the
it
true
helps with wearing
samurai.
the helmet.
And Jolly
But that
Good.
bowl cut one where they had the shaved head, but they had the hair going around with the top knot was
Yeah.
a status of wealth
Yeah.
and stuff like that. I know in Korean, I think also in their history, top knots were very important as well. It would show like the bigger the top knot or something like that, meant
Well,
more
Neither of these
prestigious.
characters represent that.
Well, no.
They don't, but Sadako, there is a yokai called Fudakuchi Onna who has like hair that's alive.
Yeah, the hair, if you notice, it has like, it reaches
Sentience?
out.
I did notice that it happened.
Yeah, it's often a woman
Several
with
times.
hair that's kind of like reminiscent. It's not Medusa style where it's like snake hair.
Yeah.
It is hair that is alive and that can basically like grab things, murder you if it wants to. I don't know.
Turn Kayako into a surfboard.
Yeah, there's several things where like hair is a thing.
Yeah.
So, but it's a Fudakuchi's Onna.
Okay.
And women are often portrayed as, there's even the no masks theaters. They have masks representing evil, vengeful women spirits.
I feel like
too.
you should have made this movie because you're someone who seems to have researched the subject. I don't believe that people who
Yeah, I didn't get any of that from the movie we
Because-
watched.
because-
So after watching The Ring versus The Grudge, I like went down a rabbit hole of like, I'm gonna watch all the Grudge movies and I'm gonna watch all the Ring movies, and then I'm like, I really want to get the books too. I have them on my Amazon wish list, but I'm like, they're sitting there and I'm like, get over here. But I'm like really hard between like my manga collection and getting normal novels. But like,
I didn't need them to like have a straight up fist fight. I didn't need them to tear up the house, going through walls and things. I needed them to have a fight.
So in terms of like, I wasn't going into this movie. I felt it was going to be goofy because of all the advertisements in Japan that they had. They had them doing like a baseball game, which was great. Sadako trying to
I
throw
think
a
I
ball was
saw-
great.
The
Yeah.
opening pitch.
Yeah, I think I saw previews for that actually.
Because I think
Yeah, they
Amanda
did
shared a
publicity
video
stuff.
with us.
This
That might
was
have been.
initially announced as an April Fool's joke.
Yeah,
It
I remember you
was.
saying that, yeah.
But these two urban legends have kind of like become such big pop culture icons in Japan that when I saw the chance of seeing a Sadako versus Kayako, I was like, oh, I'm really curious as to how this would turn out. But the movie ended up changing so much of the original. I think because they were condensed on time,
Yeah.
making the getting the phone call from Sadako. We got a phone here. From 7 days to being like 2 days it made the film seem more urgent than it was. Like, oh no, she's gonna die in 2 days. We got like 2 days. It made it feel also like the days were longer, which is kind of nice.
You know why? Probably because not as many people are watching VHSs anymore. Sadako
Well, they
is less
burned
busy.
it onto a DVD in this movie.
Yeah, yeah, she's
And
got less
she
stuff to
uploaded
do.
it
She's
online.
getting to it quicker.
Well, Sadako, it's interesting because in the first Ring, when you don't even see Sadako or anything. It's very much like the first film, like the American film, where it takes a long time for us to even get any like
I saw Sadako.
inkling of seeing Sadako.
Sadako's the ring girl.
Yes.
She was in it all day long. It's the other
In
one.
the American one, she's in it more prominently
Yeah.
because we Americans love like seeing. We want to know more.
No,
There's a difference between
think-
monsters and how they're
I think Ben's
represented.
talking about this one.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Oh, this one?
How?
Yeah.
Yeah,
She's
there's-
big in this one, but in the original Ring, you don't see her. It's a 120-minute movie in which you don't. It paces itself with tension versus like the actual thing that's like the problem.
Did you guys see Audition?
Yes.
Oh, I love Audition. My friend fell asleep through it, and I was really mad at
It's a
him.
killer last 40 minutes, too.
Yeah.
Such a good book too.
Yeah. When she's just sitting there staring at the phone, you're like, oh my god, you know she's crazy, and then you just see the box flip over, and you're like, oh, okay, she's like actually, she's actually crazy.
She's gonna be number one.
Yeah.
But
You know what was a really good versus movie, Japanese versus movie? It was called like, it was like Frankenstein Girl versus
oh, I know what you're talking about.
Vampire Girl. Is that what it was?
I don't remember the name, but I know what you're talking about.
That was a blood fest. That was awesome.
I
Watch that next week on the Caffeinated Library.
What was the last movie that we watched that was yours before this one?
Bodies, bodies, bodies.
I want to thank you for that movie.
That
Because
one
that
was great.
movie was brilliant.
Yeah.
And it was so good that it totally makes up for what you put me through last night.
you don't understand. I saw this movie and all I wanted to do was talk about it. For the
Can
longest
I-
time,
Oh,
nobody online
me
was
too.
talking about it. I'm like, I want to talk to everybody about this. I'm like, you go watch it. You go watch it. You go watch
Can I
it.
just say, my favorite thing in J-horror is just when there's just a ghost in the background and the movie doesn't call attention to it. I love that stuff.
That's what's
Now,
great
was
about
she so-
Japanese horror. Yeah,
Now, I
is
don't know
that
if it was the
you-
quality of the film I was watching, because one thing I do like is I like looking at the background, because that's when you can almost miss it. It's sort of like when we were discussing Haunting of
Hill
Blind
House.
Manor,
Yeah.
Haunting of Hill House. There's a lot of ghosts in the background where they're just like standing there, and it's
Oh,
almost
the
like
cast members
it's
as
almost
ghosts.
it's almost fun though, because you're trying to see, can I see them? So that's what I kind of like about these, because I'm always paying attention, because I think a lot of times there is some importance to that. But like with the one I watched on YouTube, Kayako is so blurred out. Was that the quality of the upload, or that's
You
legitimately
I
I
YouTube?
watched it on Shudder.
Yeah, I
She
watched
was
it on
fine.
Shudder.
Yeah, I didn't have any issues.
Oh,
with it.
okay, because I could barely see her. She almost looked like she was like a watercolor painting. I'm like, is this?
In a
the-
way, Sadako is kind of the tone of the movie has always been like it's going to be like kind of like a washed up, kind of like dirty feel. Any of the Ring movies are kind of the same way. They feel very gritty
Yeah.
when you watch
They-
them, which is very much the feel of
Yeah,
Kayako when she
and
steps out of
the-
anything.
They started in that 2000s like digital horror
Yeah.
boom, so like they love that grainy image. Oh, I love it so much too. It's so good.
And I actually thought, because when the main characters, and I forgot their names, I'm sorry,
Yuri.
Yuri
Which one are you
and
talking
Not
about?
when
Natsumi,
That's
Nuri,
the
the
name.
two girls.
Natsumi, who's watching with her friend, they're the ones
Yuri's
that.
the one
Yeah.
who's the last one to die, and then who
Yuri's
jumps
the
in the
one who
well?
falls with her
Who
friend.
jumps in the
Yeah.
well? That's Yuri.
And
Natsumi is the one
Natsumi
who's
strangles
like her best friend,
herself.
who's the first one who dies.
Okay, fine. So Natsumi, the college girl, when she's watching with her friend, at first I thought you were not gonna see Sadako, because when she's watching the film, you see her reactions to it, which
Yeah.
which are generally terrifying, but you don't see it. So it's like, oh, is the Japanese film not gonna show her until like the last minute? That
Well, it's
doesn't.
kind of like a vampire. You're kind of inviting her into
Yeah,
your house
no.
when you do it. She doesn't come out
I-
until after.
I loved that scene, Simona,
Yeah.
because it gives you a lot of time to be like, this is going to be a fake out, right? It's going to be a fake out. Even with the phone ring, they let it ring for so long.
Yeah.
And then when they pick it up and they actually just hear the static, you're like, oh, no, it's not a fake out.
Yeah. It's just that I kind of like that, and Amanda touched on something I was talking to Lou about when it comes to like horror, because like there was another American remake, and I cannot recall what the original Japanese film is, but a lot of people were saying how with the American remake they spelled everything out for the audience.
That's
We're-
the problem with some.
Yeah.
They did it with Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah, like
Ghost in the Shell said
yeah.
they spelled it out
Yeah.
so hard. You didn't need to beat people that hard. I love Ghost in the Shell, and
Yeah.
I do enjoy the movie because I got a little history on Bato, who's my favorite character.
Dark Water?
But they did that. Dark Water was the sequel. to-
Not Dark Water. It was
But they did. Do
I'll
a sequel.
find it and I'll
Close,
email all
maybe?
of it.
Dark
Was it
Water
that terrible
was a
Natalie
sequel.
Dormer movie? The
Technically,
Forest
it's
or
supposed to be a
something?
sequel.
No, it's
Suicide
the
Forest?
actress.
That was terrible.
Her name, who's in
Jennifer
Hunger
Lawrence?
Games.
It was
Jennifer Lawrence is in
distasteful
this,
is what it
this
was.
film.
House at the end of the street.
It was distasteful.
Last House on the Left?
No. I'll find it. I'll find it and I'll send it to everyone. But it was a remake, I believe, of a Japanese
Winter's Tale.
horror movie. What?
Winter's Tale.
With Colin Farrell.
Is that not the one she's in Winter's Bone? Is it Winter's, Bone?
Yeah, that's a mafia movie.
I don't know.
Like
The
I'll
only
find it.
like
Yeah.
thriller Jennifer Lawrence I can think of is Mother.
And
love her.
House at the End of the Street.
There was Dark Water.
That's what it is.
Like
No,
I know.
I don't think that's a remake of a Japanese movie.
Because, like, I know in this film there's a scene where she sees her boyfriend who's died, and he appears as an apparition that has, like, a broken back, like he's crawling
And it was
towards her.
Jennifer
in the-
Lawrence?
and
I don't.
I'll find it. I'm pretty sure
sure it
it's
isn't
Jennifer Lawrence.
Silent Hill 2.
No. No, I'll find
Is
it
it
and I'll send it to everyone.
One Missed Call?
No, it's not One Missed Call. I watched that at a
Is it
slumber
Catching
party
Fire?
in middle school.
You know what's what I
Find this
enjoyed
now, I'm
here?
insane.
That classroom scene in the beginning, that was like lifted straight out of Candyman. I was like,
Oh, yeah.
No, the one where just the professor started about
Yeah.
legends. I was like, oh wow, this is just straight up the setup for Candyman.
Japan, like
Yeah.
from a lot of it is a standard trope, but it's weird in some horror movies and also in, like some of the anime, like horror anime. It always starts off like a college student going to a class with a nutso professor who's way too into folklore
Clearly,
than
he
he needs
wasn't
to be.
nuts, though. He
Okay,
knew his
but
He's like,
he
I
was
want
like-
to see the film, and we're like, no, don't. And then he was like, I'm gonna burn it on a DVD, and we're like, stop! You're
Honestly,
making
Entire
it
time, he
worse.
was too chill with dying.
in
He's like, yeah,
4K
no, it's
quality
fine.
now.
It was like he needed proof that his life's work was legit.
But I also think
Imagine
too,
someone
like I
gets,
think
like, a
part of
Blu-ray
him
4K
did not
edition,
genuinely
and they, like,
believe it.
Well,
Because
she
in my
uploaded
opinion,
it
when it's
online,
reviews
and all of these
on
people
that,
are gonna die.
You're not going to be so blasé about it. Like because he seems
But
like
not
he's
one
very
thing.
much the academic, where it's like he's practically ignoring the fact that these two girls are terrified. He's like, oh, I think that's the problem. is
Well,
that
because
he-
it's probably year after year
he
he
was a
said
real
the same
Oppenheimer
thing.
about it, you know?
Well, the thing is that this class, first off, nobody takes this class to be seriously.
No, girls are
It's
full
a
of
filler class. It is a filler class. A lot of people would consider this class to be like a filler
Easy
class,
A.
easy A. And then afterwards, you get these girls, and it's a folklore class, which is subject to urban legends and stuff going on. I'm sure he's gotten his fair share of pranks in the past where he's like, yo, I want this videotape. If you find it, bring it to me. And some people are probably like, I saw the videotape, I got it. I'm pretty sure he has a right to be skeptical, considering year after year, he's been trying to sell his book and then also be like, hey, find me cool things. And people are like, look at this cool thing. He's like, this is fake.
A pretty solid American remake of a Korean horror film is The Uninvited, and it was based on this one called The Tale of Two Sisters.
Oh,
And it's
love Taylor.
quasi-
that's it. Thank you.
That's a good one.
It's
That's
the Uninvited.
Elizabeth Banks, I thought.
Okay, fine. Maybe I screwed up the actress. That's it. It's the Uninvited. Thank you, Ben.
No, you're welcome.
You're my hero. That's it. Because in A Tale of Two Sisters is a fantastic film. If you haven't seen it, watch it. And I think that was their point, basically how with American horror, there's almost like there's a linear sort of pattern to it where like, not always the case, maybe it's generalizing, but basically you walk the audience through every aspect, whereas with Asian horror, it's more like, we'll explain it, we may not explain it, you may get what's happening, you may not, but whatever. You know, that's how it is. Yeah, and then, what was I? Oh, and it's so funny, I know I've mentioned this before, but when I was in college, someone actually put a VHS tape in my mailbox, and when I started playing it, it looked like The Ring. It had the blur, and I just stopped playing it because a part of me didn't believe it, but a part of me was like,
Just in case.
I watched The Ring
then I
for
get
the
that
first
phone
time.
call.
I watched The Ring for the first time. I had a friend over because our parents made us watch like 80s horror movies, and then we decided to pick one on our own. We went with The Ring. So we watched The Ring, and it shows you what's on the video. My phone rang after the videotape played, and we were like, and it was like, I was like, I'm gonna go answer it, and I answered it, and it was just my uncle on the line. He was like, hey, how's it going? And I was like, I hate you. I don't like you right now.
I wanted to know I'm going to die. Oh, that's the question. If you basically got the phone call from Sadako, and she said 7 days. How would you spend the remaining 7 days of your life?
Sit at home.
Terrified.
Probably trying to figure out how to live.
So you're just gonna go with the basic. I'm like, I gotta figure out the mystery. No, there is no mystery. She did. She's gonna come get you.
I would do what Naomi Watts did in the.
Which is kind of sucky. Do you realize that? Like, essentially, the way out of dying is to make sure someone else dies instead of
I
you.
would probably
It's like
go
a chain mail.
Yeah.
It was a very It Follows.
sit at the beach. Just
Oh
make
my
it
God,
really
I saw
difficult
It
for them
Follows
to enjoy
for the
themselves
first
killing me.
time, like last week or the week before. Amazing movie. I knew it was going to be good,
Which
but
one?
I wasn't expecting it to be like that wrong. You
Yeah.
know, like everything just feels so off and
What is it?
unnatural.
Yeah,
It follows.
Oh, okay.
And it was.
I love that
The
movie.
STD
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah,
Yes.
essentially. Yeah.
I don't think so. I don't know. I think there's more to it
The
than
one from
that.
2014?
Yeah.
With the girl from The Guest?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
no, I do think there's more to it than that. I don't think it's that simple.
As like an allegory for STDs. I've never watched the film. I know the
No.
premise, sort of, but I've never watched it.
Yeah, it was. I thought it was very
That's
good.
deep. That's
I was surprised.
Wait,
How good.
but Simona, what would you do with your last 7 days?
Yeah, what would you do?
Frankly, I'm already a neurotic.
Last 2
So,
days.
like, I worry about my life in general, but I think I would be trying to figure out a way how to get out of it.
Someone would be like,
I just wanna see
be like, I
some-
gotta make
See-
sure I can get off of work first.
That's what I would do.
Well, that's the thing.
I'm
No, you just you have 7 days. I would just blow my savings, go to Italy, and eat pasta until I died, and there you go. That's
I'd just
that's.
be angry at myself that I couldn't read War and Peace and I meant to do it for all those years. I never got to
You have
it.
7 days.
Let's read
You
books,
can read it in 7 days. Come on.
see historical things, eat pasta for
You
7
guys
straight
have that-
days.
Maybe you don't suffer this yet because I think I'm double your age, but like,
We're like 10 years.
like- yeah, I'm starting to come to terms with the fact that I actually never will see every movie and never will read every book.
Oh, no, I
and
think
it's
about that all the
deeply
time.
upsetting.
That's the trope with anime fans, is the reason why none of us will, like, you know.
I mean, I know there's so many
Even if you're
more hard
depressed,
things
won't
to
do
think
anything
about and
because then we'll
bad
miss the
things
next
to be
season.
sad
But
about.
I think that
And
that
we need
also
20
shows
years
also
for
that I don't think so. You know, I think there's a lot worse things to be preoccupied with and worrying so much. I think that's one of the nicer things, that I'll never watch every film or read every book.
Yeah.
I think that's better.
I think
than
I'd like to
being
continue
terrified having
watching
these
the film.
existential crisis of, will I be
There's
mature
some
enough to
really
watch it?
terrible
Look at
books
the-
out
look
there.
at you,
You also
girl.
know there's going to be like they're going to be like
Sensible.
88 years old and some fantastic trilogy will have a movie coming out on Christmas and you'll have seen the first and second, you're going to die.
That would suck. Imagine
never
Lord of the
ended
Rings
series.
came out and you didn't get to see Return of the King.
The
Right.
new one? The new one? Oh,
Yeah.
no.
Yep. Kicked it before Return. I mean, that's just a very frustrating.
Someone imagine Harry Potter came out and you didn't get to read the last book.
Why did you target? Oh, yeah.
Just like this.
I mean, Fred would still be alive, so it's fine.
True.
Oh, finally, someone gets it. Yay.
He's the
Twin
one who
love.
lost his ear. Did he lose his ear?
Yeah,
no,
he
that was
lost
his
it.
twin George.
So the earless one.
Fred
loses.
died laughing because of his brother who sucks. Percy.
I love those two. They're
Yeah,
great.
I love Fred and George.
Legends.
Oh.
It's
I would
Percy's
marry
fault.
into the Weasleys.
You think so?
Yes,
Didn't
I blame
Fenrir
Percy.
Greyback kill?
I want nothing
Let's-
to do with anyone in Harry Potter, if I'm being honest. I don't need that. in
Look,
my
that
life.
family's all redheads. It's a goal.
Oh yeah, you're right. They're all.
They
they're
are all
I got
redheads.
stressed.
They all are
It
redheads.
sounds like that rumor is beginning to be very true that J.K. Rowling is actually writing a series of books where Hermione's the main character as a grown-up witch.
Oh yeah.
Huh.
I really don't care.
I mean, there's plenty of fan fiction already. I'm good.
Don't need it. I'm good.
Tough one.
I'll stay with just the basic.
It's a tough one. Because
Joe, what would you do with the last 7 days?
For a different podcast.
The last 7 days? I don't know. Annalise's plan sounds pretty cool on it.
Yeah.
Just live it up. Blow
That's
through
it. We're
your
all going on a
savings.
trip. We're all gonna watch it
Yeah.
together. and
I don't
we're
have to
all
pay
gonna go
back
on
my
trips.
student loans, just like chef's kiss.
But
Perfect.
your loans are gonna go to somebody.
I know that legitimately terrifies me. I tried to
Biden,
get
clear it
my
now.
license without being a co-signer for my loans, because like I was like, if I die, you're stuck with it. You worked so hard. I couldn't get her to not be a co-signer.
See, I don't have
I
a
don't have it.
co-signer.
I'm saying
Yeah, I don't
I
have
had
It's
no
all
choice.
me.
Like for one of Belts of Holders.
I really want to be alive for the final installment of the Mission Impossible franchise.
I think
and I
you will
want
be.
to
Never.
play the
Tom
Cyberpunk
Cruise
expansion.
is going to be making those till he's dead.
No, he's
Yeah.
going to stop at the 8th.
It's like,
No, he
stop,
won't.
Tom. You can't
No,
do
he
that
won't.
stunt.
Because then people are going to be like, oh, Tom Cruise is weird again. And then he's going to have to go back to risking his life to get the public to be
He's
okay
already
with it.
sort of going weird again, and now we have to
He's-
he's going to
When
finish
isn't
it.
he going weird?
He's a
Everyone's
lizard
just
man.
assumed he's just constantly 100% all the time weird.
No.
He could be sitting there reading a book looking like the most normal man. I'm like, what are you reading? It could be the weirdest thing ever. Where are your thoughts going? Weird thoughts. There you go. That's it. Think
Look,
what the man's thinking.
I promise you, Jackie Chan will make another police story at some point. Like, those guys, you can't get rid of them.
Well, Jackie Chan is the voice of Splinter in the new TMNT, so
Yes.
Nice.
They're making a new team.
They
yeah,
already did.
it's
Yeah.
out
Yeah.
right now in
Yeah.
theaters.
Yeah.
It's really cute.
It's another
called
origin
Mayhem.
story.
yes.
It's not going to be like the 90s ones, though, unfortunately.
No, it's animated.
Yeah, it's
What's
not
that?
guys in suits.
That's
No,
beautiful.
very
That movie
off-putting.
was-
Shout out Golden Harvest.
What's Golden Harvest?
They're a Hong Kong film studio. They did the TMNT movies in the
Oh,
90s.
nice.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, that
Oh,
was sort of
nice.
their crossover to the American market.
Nice. So,
Well, solid pick. It drummed up a lot of conversation.
It really
did.
did.
Yeah, no, this was very fun.
I feel like you should have made the movie because
You would have done a better job.
Yeah.
no, I don't think I could ever capture the genius that was The First Ring. The First Ring, if you watch Ringu, I highly recommend watching the first one. It is a movie masterpiece. It is a masterclass on tension.
just to be clear, I didn't say you should have made The Ring 1.
No, I feel like I
Yeah.
would never make this like I found Sadako versus Kayako, despite like, kind of being in its own separate universe bubble, to be incredibly just fun because you got Sadako on one end who's a curse that'll curse you. It's like a chainmail curse, but in this case, doesn't even matter what you do, you're just dead.
Well, that's
and I love
that's
that.
what they said. If you
There's
passed
no
off to someone else,
mystery.
you wouldn't die, but they still die.
There's
so.
just no mystery. I love because
Wizard
it felt
Boy
like
comes in. He's like, no, that's not true. No, that's not true.
So-
no, this is all nonsense.
So he's called an omnioji, what we consider an omnioji in Japan. And omnioji are kind of like specialized priests that deal with the supernatural. They are
He's
exorcists.
a priest?
He would be considered, he would have had to have been
Pretty
taught
His little
by
hand
a
movements.
priest. Omnioji have their own sect. They're exorcists. They're Japanese
Now,
exorcists.
Did he ever
Ah,
appear
okay.
in any of the other films? Because I
No,
kind
he
of.
did not. This felt like, so Sadako versus Kayako, why I like it so much, it doesn't feel like a versus film. It doesn't feel like the original films they were based on. It
You
feels
should
like an
have-
anime film because his type of character with the little girl,
Yeah.
Big Takao.
That reminded me of a lot of Hong Kong horror because that usually isn't too concerned
It's
with
a
being
weird
scary,
buddy cop.
but there's always like a good like buddy cop dynamic happening with the Taoist priest.
Well,
and his
she's supposed to be
apprentice and-
blind, but she can read auras. But her eyes are just shut the entire film. And so it felt like an anime character come to life. Like he's there with his tiny little girl assistant who has like the representation of like, oh, I'm blind, but I'm going to keep my eyes closed. And they're so enjoyable. They're so scuzzy. They're so sleazy. He's like, man, don't make any more work for me. Why did you watch the movie? He's like, now I gotta clean up another body. And then he like takes the money from under the thing. He's like, this'll do. And it's like, that'll do. Do you see the stacks that are in there? And then the little girl faints at the end after seeing everything. It's just so tropey and dumb. And I loved everything about.
Are his hand movements? Just tell me, because I know this shouldn't be what.
So omnioji can use different, from my understanding of how exorcists go on. Teeny tiny bit, but there are symbols and incantations and like talismans, like the things you see on the videotape, the little pieces of paper. Those
Yeah.
are paper talismans that are supposed to keep something at bay or sealed. But
Yeah.
it didn't work clearly because Sadako just blew feet people's faces. But the way he's doing his thing, they do have hand signs that they use.
So those
there
are
are
actual-
certain intricate like things you're supposed
So
to do.
those
They're,
were
like,
real, not
they
just like
were wards.
made up.
Those were ward signs.
They were not the real hand
They
signs,
were not
though.
the real ones, but they were made to look like because Omnioji used like an array of tools.
I'm
to
sure
use
he
their
was
hands.
just moving his hand around.
He did some like.
Because that was,
He like normally you would put like a pentagram and then like
that's
there
all
are
he
some
was
other
doing.
symbols to help draw. He's like Job doing magic shows for Arrested Development.
Yes.
was like, I loved him. I thought it was funny that the very beginning of the film, the first death in the movie, was just her, a girl working at a random store, and she's just like happy 1 second, and it's like, I'm gonna go clean up the back area.
Yeah. I watched the video. I'm gonna die in 2 days.
Yes, I'll die.
She's like, ha, it's fake, it's fine, I'm sure it's fine. And then she's like, I'm gonna go clean the back area now. And then you just see her, she's like, whoop. And
Did
I'm like,
that kind of throw you? Because, and I admit that's not the most important aspect of that tragic moment. But I was like, but what happened in the interim between her saying, I'm
it's
gonna
the
die?
curse. It's the curse.
No, I get that. But
Yeah.
what I'm saying is like a little bit of a build up. Like, it
No,
went
I like it.
And I like- it was-
I think
that's
that's
just
it was
how
goofy
goes
and-
in the series.
Let me
The
just
series,
vet.
yeah.
Let me just vet. So it goes from ha 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 ha, I might die, and then it goes and then like she disappears. Like it would have been nice if she went like ha 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 ha, I'm gonna die, and then you see her like stare off in the distance, but you don't have to see what she's looking at. But there's like abject fear on her expression. Then she wanders up and then jumps.
So some
also
people,
like-
so when Sadako does her
Okay.
curses, there's 2 ways to die. There's either
Gotta wrap it up.
you sit
Yeah.
there.
Okay.
Over.
Oh, sorry. You sit there in fear and you look at her and then your face gets contorted, or you kill yourself before
So-
the
Okay.
curse happens. That's usually how it goes.
Okay.
Just
So
kinda-
take us out, Amanda.
All right. And with that, I'm gonna die. Hey girl. I don't know what you want from me. That was the only thing I was thinking at the time. I'm gonna die. So with that, next week we will be continuing the foreign movie series. I believe with
Joe's pick.
Yes.
Joe's pick,
Chungking Express.
which I'm excited to see. So thank you guys for allowing me to have the opportunity to show you the majesty of the greatness that is Kayako versus Sadako versus Kayako. I love this movie. Please go watch it. I need more people to talk to.